All right, so today we're going to be focused on introductions and conclusions. You've been building an essay, you just might not have realized it, but I've been telling you that for this unit, you'll be writing a full essay that is going to use those paragraphs that you've been writing about the characters. So you already have 3 really important paragraphs that have been completed, and now it's time to talk about how to introduce those ideas and how to close out those ideas. So that's what this lesson is. Before we do that, though, there'll be a few places, like right now, where I want you to press pause and write on a piece of paper. So right now, equip yourself with a blank piece of paper, something to write with, and on that paper, at the top, label it introduction and conclusion. So I want you to press pause so I don't move on without you. Label your paper, and then we'll move on to the next slide once you click play again. All right. First thing I want you to do is take a look at an entire essay put together. I know that might look a little scary to you, but if you build it in small pieces according to your plan, it's very easy. Also, I know you might notice that this essay is about Fortnite. May not be your thing anymore, but if you can, maybe think back to like 6th or 7th grade when it was like the biggest thing ever and it was the most important thing to you. So it is being used as my example, but just bear with it if it's not your favorite thing. I want you to notice the qualities of this piece of writing. It has several paragraphs, and we want to look at what they all actually are. So if you'll notice, there is an introduction. There is a body paragraph, 1. There is another body paragraph, 2. There is another body paragraph, 3. And then the last one is a conclusion. Now, something else to notice is that sometimes you might not have 5. Really, that depends on the body of your essay. How many paragraphs do you have in the body of your essay? It could be more than 5, could be less than 5, but you'll always have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Any piece of writing has a beginning, a middle, and an end. In the case of an essay, you tell your reader what's about to be discussed. You discuss and develop those ideas with evidence and your thoughts, and then you close it out at the end. So you always have that same structure. How many paragraphs just is going to depend on how long the body of your essay is. Now, most of you will have, for this unit, 5 paragraphs because you've already written 3. You wrote about Maya, you wrote about Alfonso, and you wrote about Greg. So you already have 3 body paragraphs. Today we're talking about tacking on those other 2 missing paragraphs. Now, some of you may only have a paragraph about Maya. That's because you transferred from another class, and so you need to realize that the body of your essay will be much shorter, but it's the same process. Now, what you already have, I just mentioned this, let's take a look at it. You already have a peel paragraph about Maya. You either wrote about why her parents are strict, or that she has trouble fitting in, or some of you wrote about that she has things that bring her joy. So you have that paragraph already. And then we actually wrote a pearl paragraph about Alfonso. We did the repeating. Remember, with Maya, we just practiced, so we did 1 set of EA. But with Alfonso, we did the other set of EA. So you repeated with Alfonso. So you wrote about, for him, how he deals with typical teenage issues. So some of you maybe wrote about his appearance. Some of you maybe wrote about him arguing with his brother. And then you have a pearl paragraph now about Greg. And this one you wrote about his father's expectations. So look, you have 3 paragraphs. You have body 1, body 2, body 3. What's missing? The introduction and the conclusion. If you just slap those 3 paragraphs together on a piece of paper, it's not going to make a lot of sense to your reader. You need to introduce your ideas, put them in order of development, and then close out your ideas. Now, as I just mentioned, Mrs. Eichelman's e-learners, you have 1 paragraph about Maya. You haven't met Alfonso and Greg. And so for this, you're just going to focus on that 1 paragraph as your body, but you're still going through the process of the essay writing. Here is the essay prompt for this unit. This is your assignment. Take a look at it. In this unit, you have read 4 short stories with teen main characters. Consider all the conflicts that they dealt with in these stories. This is what you're going to do. Write a multi-paragraph, that means more than one paragraph response, to explain some of the conflicts these characters faced. You've already tackled that. We know what conflicts, problems that they've had, and you have some paragraphs already. Now we're just going to be putting them together in an essay with that introduction and conclusion attached. For an introduction, the magic number is 3. There are 3 things that you need. Very short, very simple. You need an attention getter, you need a thesis or a claim, and you need an essay preview. Now here's an important thing to think about. Today, you're only using thesis statement, and that's because we're writing informative. We're informing. We're not arguing anything. We're explaining about conflict. 3 parts, and you'll see that comes up again with with conclusions also. Here's an example. I have an attention getter, which you'll see here in red. I have a thesis statement that you'll see here in blue, and then I have an essay preview that you see here in green. Let's take a look. The red is my attention getter. How do I get my reader's attention? I'm dying with anticipation. The next season of Stranger Things is out, and I'm ready to binge. There is nothing better than seeing that Netflix logo pop up on my screen, knowing my favorite show is only a couple clicks away, getting my reader's attention. What am I writing about? Without a doubt, Stranger Things is my favorite TV show. Now, anybody who's reading that knows that it's what they're about to read. That Stranger Things is my favorite TV show. I'm going to explain it. How am I going to do that? I'm going to give them a preview, give you a little heads up. Well, here are the things I like. I cannot get enough of the supernatural elements. The character development is unmatched, and the 80s nostalgia is super fun. So now my reader knows not only am I going to tell you about how Stranger Things is my favorite show, but I've given you what my paragraphs are going to discuss. 3 things. That's what you need in your introduction. What does the attention getter do? You're going to start with that. Gets the reader's attention, something interesting, maybe a story, maybe a shocking statistic. Tell them to think about something. Maybe you're saying something funny. Maybe ask them some questions. What's a way to get your reader thinking? It's almost time for you to write. It's your turn. Think about how you could get your reader's attention about the conflicts that these characters have faced. That's our topic. You're explaining how these teenagers deal with common teen issues. What's something catchy you could say at the beginning of your essay? Give you some suggestions here. You see the black bulleted list, and on the paper that you labeled at the beginning of this presentation, right now, press pause and write a great first sentence or 2 that gets the reader ready. So now press pause and think about what you would like to use to get your reader's attention. And when you're finished, click play and we'll move on to thesis statement. Thesis statement. This is what your whole essay is about. Think of it as a really important topic sentence. You have those points for your paragraphs, but the thesis is like a giant point. It's the whole point. It's the focus of your whole essay, and it's very important. And looking at your prompt is helpful. What are you writing about? That's basically what you're putting for your thesis statement. And remember, since it's informative, that's what we're calling it. Your claim is only when you're arguing. Here's a warning. Don't ever write, my essay is about, I'm going to tell you, this essay is going to. You don't have to be that obvious. you can simply write a statement that tells the reader what you're going to write about. And you can use my examples to help you. You can clearly see if I write that statement that that's what I am saying. That's my statement. Stranger Things is my favorite TV show. That's what I'm going to write about. You're going to press pause again. So I want you to think about, what are you writing about? Well, we're writing about teen conflicts in these stories. Go back to the prompt if you need to take a look at it. But now I want you to press pause. And right after the attention getter that you just wrote on your paper, right now, stop the video and write a sentence that introduces this idea that you are about to talk about conflict in the story. Press pause, write your thesis statement, and then we'll continue on to the preview. Essay preview. This is just to give your reader a heads up about what you'll be addressing. You already know what you're going to write about. You already know you're going to say Maya's parents are strict. You already know you're going to say Alfonso deals with conflict or teen conflict. You already know Greg's father has expectations because you've already planned. You already know. And those are always going to be your points. Your preview is going to throw your points out there. What are the points I'm bringing up in my essay? And we have 3 points already. If you'll take a look, this is a preview of the 3 points that I would talk about for Stranger Things. Now it's your turn. This one's super easy because if you notice, I gave you these points for each character. You don't have to think of new ones. You've already gotten them done. You just have to now fit them into your introduction so they go together and make sense. So right now, I want you to press pause after your thesis statement that you just wrote. I want you to list the 3 main points that you're going to bring up, and that's going to be the piece that you wrote for these character paragraphs. Press pause, list your preview, and then press play again so we can move on. Conclusions. This is the end. Same thing, magic number 3. 3 parts. Restate, review, final thought. It's the easiest paragraph of them all because you're just kind of going back through what you've already said. There's nothing new. You're not thinking of anything new. You don't have to have any evidence. It's just reviewing what you wrote. But please notice that it doesn't say recopy. You don't want to have exactly the same thing. That's why it says restate. You want to say something in a slightly different way. If I'm explaining my favorite TV show, you already saw my introduction. You're going to see my conclusion. I'm restating in red. I'm reviewing in blue. And my final thought is in green. So you're going to see me restate my topic, review my points, and then leave my reader with something cool at the end. Let's take a look at it. There really isn't a better show out there for me than Stranger Things. I'm just restating the fact that that's my favorite show. There's no show better. I said it in a little bit of a different way. I'm looking for, here's my review, listen to the 3 things. I'm looking for supernatural elements that take me away into another world. The characters are truly relatable, and I love watching their personalities unfold. And 80s Easter eggs are fun to find. Stranger Things has so much entertainment. Those are the 3 things I mentioned at the beginning and that I talk about in my essay. Here's my final thought, something fun at the end, something that I want to leave my reader with. I am anxiously awaiting the announcement for next season. I'll be binging. That's a guarantee. Final thought. Restate your thesis. Remind your reader what the whole essay was about. And you already have a thesis because it's on your paper right now in your introduction. Take a look at it. You'll be able to use it when you press pause in just a second. Think about, what was the point of my whole essay? What was that thesis statement? What am I writing? How can I write that in a little bit of a different way? Press pause and write the first sentence of your conclusion. That's how that's when you're restating your thesis statement. Press pause and write a restatement of your thesis. Now review. What were those 3 main points? What were those 3 P's? Try not to copy. Think of a new way to review. You're going to press pause here after you look back at your 3 main points. Maya's parents are strict. Alfonso deals with teen issues. Greg's dad has high expectations. After your restatement of your topic, how can you review those 3 points? And then your final thought. Leave your reader with closure. It's a good idea sometimes to tie it back to your attention getter. Maybe if you said something funny at the beginning, you say something funny at the end. Maybe if you asked a question at the beginning, you want to ask a question at the end to kind of tie it together. But leave your reader with something that you want them to end with. What's the last thing that you want them to actually see? What do you want them to think when they're finished with reading your essay? Same thing right now. Press pause. Take a look at what you have for your conclusion so far. You restated your topic. You reviewed those 3 points. Now, what's the last thing you want your reader to read in your essay? Your final thought. Press pause. Add that to your conclusion. And then when you press play, we'll continue on. Just to review, here are the 2 paragraphs that we've just been talking about. You'll see in this paragraph, the orange is the attention getter. This is from the fortnight essay that I showed you at the beginning. And you see the orange is the attention getter. The purple, kind of bluish there is the thesis statement, the statement of what the essay is about. And then the pink is a preview of what is in that essay. Next, you'll see a conclusion. You'll hear the point restated, or the thesis restated. You'll hear the 3 main points reviewed, and you'll see that there's a final thought. Introduction and conclusion, very, very similar. They just have to be restated in slightly different ways. Now, for you, depending on what your schedule is, will depend on when this is going to be collected and when it is expected to be submitted. So let's take a look. If you are a Schedule A student, you're working on this in class Monday and Tuesday. So you have time to watch this video, time to go through the components, and you'll be working on this in class Monday, Tuesday, and you'll have your other assignments on your own Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Schedule B students, you're working on this at home Monday and Tuesday. You should go through this lesson Monday and Tuesday and make sure that you have a paper with your introduction and your conclusion on it when you come to class Thursday. You'll be asked to get this paper out when you come to class Thursday. And then finally, e-learning students, you need to make sure that you submit a copy of your introduction and your conclusion that you wrote by the end of the day, Wednesday. You have some options with that. You can take a picture if you wrote it all on paper, or you can go ahead and retype it and submit it in Schoology by submitting in the assignment box. So it is up to you how you submit that, either through picture or through typing, but e-learners need to have introduction and conclusion completed by the end of class, or the end of the day on Wednesday. So those are the 3 situations, and decide which one you're in so that you know when the introduction and the conclusions are due for you. You'll also see that a lot of these slides are posted for you so you can see the models of the essay and the paragraphs and the introduction and the conclusion all put together so that you can use those pictures to help you along with this video.